Hi, everyone. My name is Brooks Thompson here, the Director of Emerging Technology and Partnerships at Telaid. Really excited to have Bryan here with us from Superb. Bryan, why don't you introduce yourself a little bit?
Thanks for having me on, Brooks. Really excited to kind of dive into this topic because it's been something that has been of high interest for not just us, but obviously a lot of our clients and prospective conversations. But my name is Bryan. I'm currently VP of Business Development and Strategic Partnerships here at Superb AI. Superb AI is I would say, a computer vision solutions provider. We provide end-to-end solutions starting from the MLOps component that is paramount for building these edge vision models, but also being more of a forward deployment arm for any company that is looking to build and solve for problems that exist in any physical space, but don't have the means to actually build these vision models themselves. Right now, I'm really focused on, bringing together the Avengers of the ecosystem so that we can build and provide and ultimately deploy the most advanced, the most comprehensive, the most holistic computer vision product that any enterprise can bring onto their own systems and their own businesses, so that they can solve these challenges that a lot of these enterprises have, regardless of industry. So that's really what I'm focused on, is to bring partners like Telaid into the front so that we can really, really provide value to our clients.
Yeah, that's awesome. Huge Avengers fan over here. So love the reference. Let's keep Thanos where he should. Speaking about different industries, right? Today, one of the industries we're going to talk about is distribution centers. I've spent a number of years working in DCs. Can you tell us about some of the computer vision or key use cases that the DC space would have?
Yeah, we primarily kind of started off in the autonomous systems industry, and we quickly moved this direction because we started to get a lot of interest in, hey, help me understand what's happening in my distribution center. As we started to peel back the layer, we started to realize that regardless of who you are or what industry you play in, there is a supply chain or logistical layer that anybody requires to push product to the consumers, right? Whether you're retail or manufacturer, wherever it may be. Now, a lot of these companies have extremely sophisticated planning systems, whether it's a WMS or MES or wherever it may be, that really tells operators what is happening on their floor using machine signals, or we're codependent on the actual systems that are in place. But a lot of the times they would come to us and the conversations would be really focused on, we're getting these congestion alerts, we're getting these idle time alerts, we're getting these starve events, but we don't know why. It takes us forever to crawl back into our systems, whether it's the actual machine systems themselves or the camera systems. And it's just laborious. It takes too long. We're spending too many man hours to do this. So we want to leverage the systems that we have to really tell us, are operators idle? Are they not getting product? Are our forklifts moving along an efficient path? If not, why? Where are they getting stuck? So there's a lot of knowledge that these operators and our clients are thirsty for. They just don't have the means to do it. And that's really what set this whole journey for us, starting with really understanding what the problems are and then trying to build a solutions for a lot of these distribution center owners to really take control of everything that's happening so that they can get the insight needed to create the operational efficiency layers to really help them improve everything from yield throughput to labor optimization, to understanding spatial flow bottlenecks, to safety. So these are things that our solution can really bring to the forefront.
Yeah, it's really interesting. I heard the word why, right? And, I think we always I know myself, sometimes I go right to a solution, right? Like move this person over here or speed that belt up or something, but you might not have that data, that why. And so knowing that results are key when you've tested this, when you've put this into action, what are some of those results that you have seen from your customers?
First of all, I think if we were to bucket anybody that we would consider a client into, two main categories, one would be a sophisticated client that has their own internal AI resources and are looking to build these products or these solutions internally, and then will be pushed to production on their own. And then two, clients that don't seem very interested in building their own internal AI or data science teams, and they just want to procure a solution to solve the problem. Now, for the results in the first bucket, right? So we started off as an MLOps provider, helping computer vision teams build vision models faster. So in terms of that, we're literally able to shrink that work stream from conceptual model idea to actual production grade model from about 6 to 9 months down to about 4 to 8 weeks. Decreases time to market, decreases, cost, and there's just a lot of benefits that we can kind of unlock for these types of teams, so that they can, one, build more models, test more ideas, and then that ROI bridge between something that's in the R&D phase to actually proving business value, we can shorten that bridge so they can see that ROI faster, so that they can make business decisions faster. Now, if we just talk about distribution centers in general, most of them are just interested in just buying a technology that can help congestion in some of their distribution centers, or identifying not just defects, but the severity of defects within their full supply chain. With that in mind, I mean, the recoverable value, unfortunately, is very different across PG retailers, but a lot of the times, without going into too many details, a lot of this information is somewhat sensitive, but we can up defect detection rate to close to 98% versus maybe the 70, 80%, or maybe even lower. That's where getting through their distribution centers and ultimately getting to the storefronts, which is going to be somewhat catastrophic. When we've been working closely with some of these larger Fortune 100 retail and CPG brands that have extremely complex and advanced distribution centers, they typically have hundreds of them across the nation. And the biggest issue for a lot of these is just yield throughput, or optimizing for yield out of these distribution centers. And a lot of the times they're not operating at optimal efficiency, and that's due to congestion, due to idle times. This is really warehouse floor issues around inbound, outbound, conveyor lines, picking, mixing, shuffling, stuff like that. So if we're able to help them optimize that even a couple points per distribution center, or even overall, we're talking anywhere from hundreds of millions of dollars of recoverable value across the full industry. There's definitely a lot of positive implications on a solution like us being able to utilize a lot of the spatial information that is available that is currently not being collected, and then that being fed into a lot of their planning or machine systems, and sort of converging that bridge together. And what I like to call that is the bridging of the OT-IT gap, really truly bringing spatial and operational intelligence together and being able to effectively utilize that information to figure out where and why your distribution centers aren't running effectively.
Yeah, and a comment you mentioned there, yield is something I know you and I have talked about a lot. Yield is massive. It's kind of that cross, right, between what you've put in from a systematic perspective, but really what goes on. And if those two aren't aligning, then your projected yield and your actual will be very off. And figuring out the why, again, is a huge result.
Absolutely. And you'd be surprised, even some of the more sophisticated CPG or retail brands out there, a lot of them have some trouble with getting product out the door, into the hands of their distributors. A lot of that just goes into, them not having the ability to really understand spatially what's happening in these physical spaces. Spending hundreds of millions of dollars on these advanced tote systems, or picking stations, or mixing stations, or conveyor systems, along with, an orchestration layer that helps them understand machine signals. But in addition to that, they have vision infrastructure, whether it's CCTV or sensors or whatever it may be. And those two systems don't talk to each other. And that's really that bridge that we're trying to gap for a lot of our clients.
Great context there. So let's shift gears, right? That's what's been going on. What's coming next for Superb, specifically in this DC space? What do you think customers are going to change over the next year? What is this tool going to change into? Give me a little bit of understanding on the future.
Yeah, I mean, our core DNA again has been just really building the infrastructure and the plumbing that is necessary and required to build AI faster, right? So I think the next frontier is providing the ability, not just for our own forward deployment teams, but our SaaS clients, the ability to fine tune any model, whether it's physical AI, so for robotics, or even VLM systems, where you can take an open source VLN or your own frontier VLN or wherever it may be, and be able to fine tune it on a specific use case, on a specific matter that will require an expert that has 15 to 20 years experience of understanding, and be able to do that very, very quickly, so that we can take a use case that requires not just object detection, which is insufficient, and be able to layer on that reasoning layer that would be required to fully understand what is actually happening in the video, and then providing the tools and the means to do that very, very quickly. That will probably be the first piece. The next piece is, we've been working on, again, that bridging the OT/IT gap. I think that is going to be something that we're going to be focusing heavily on through the end of the year, is being able to take WMS systems, for example, getting the appropriate telemetry data and merging it with vision data, and feeding it into an orchestration layer or an MCP, and then allowing these operators to build agents, right? So agents for safety, agents for logistics, agents for defect detection, agents for anything within that physical space. Efficiency can truly become automated to a certain degree. Those agents that only work off of planning or machine systems, they would stand to benefit from, what did a forklift actually do? What are these cameras picking up? And can we put that in a JSON payload and send it to a system, and then they can ingest that and make sense of that and tie it into machine data? And that's definitely something that we're working with NVIDIA on. That's something that we're working with other partners on, to really quickly bring this to market and try to find true value in something that we believe is the next step into optimizing warehouse, physical spaces, logistics, supply chain, and so on.
It's great insight. I mean, that crossover between what's really going on, I think is key, because right now, I don't really think anybody knows. Blending that together with the injected agent side, making decisions with confidence, I think that's a dream for a lot of people. So I'm excited that we're pushing forward. So the last thing I want to talk about, which is knowing that this tool is going to be hitting on a lot of points for a lot of different companies, no matter what industry, type of DC manufacturing. How would a customer best determine if this tool would be a fit for them to look into?
Yeah, glad you asked. A lot of this is always met with skepticism. I think a lot of people still don't fully understand what vision can do for them. So there's sort of that obstacle innately when vision comes to the forefront of, how do I solve my problem? A lot of the times when we come across these types of conversations, it's sort of that once been, twice shy type of scenario, where they reached out to a vendor that didn't necessarily have the infrastructure, the architecture, the plumbing to do this efficiently. And the customers would have bad experiences. They were promised one thing and they ultimately failed to deliver because of the fact that it took too long, or it wasn't really the level of quality or efficiency or accuracy that they initially were promised. And for me, obviously being a little biased, that kind of stems from a lot of these vendors not having the platform or the infra to actually do this. Whereas we kind of approach it from the other direction, where we were the platform builder and then ultimately the edge provider. So when a client wants to really explore whether or not vision can help solve the problems, we're able to do very quick feasibility assessments. We can take a couple videos of the use case itself. We typically work with the client to say, hey, what kind of KPIs do you want to see out of this? What kind of insight do you want to extract from this video? And we could turn that around with a combination of object detection and VLM reasoning in a matter of 48 hours, so that they can visually and tangibly see what this could potentially look like at a production level at scale. And from that point on, we'll have the conversation with the customer and saying, is this something that you're looking for? Is this near the ballpark of what you would like to see in a system solution? And if all thumbs up from there, then we move it into a pilot with our full deployment team on site, consulting on cameras, if there aren't any, edge hardware to make sure that our models are given a chance to run inference at the level of latency and accuracy that is required by the client. And then everything from there is just really our team utilizing our software to build, deploy, refine, and continuously, tune and engage with the client on that level that is required from an enterprise standpoint.
No, that's great. And I really love that testing methodology that you talked about, right? That like kind of proof of concept, proof of use case, right? Be able to visualize it. So thank you, Bryan, so much for being here. I'll give you the floor for one last wrap up. Do you have anything last to say? But really excited about the partnership and continued effort working with clients and trying to solve problems and understand the why.
Yeah, appreciate the time. I mean, it was fun. I don't really get a lot of chances to kind of get in front of a large audience like this to really talk about what we're trying to do and how we're trying to redevelop the stigma of vision in the market, right? But we're doing a brick at a time. I think a lot of the clients we've worked with and a lot of the introductions come in from our partners like yourselves, that has sort of proven the groundwork that we've been laying down since 10 years ago. right? And I think we hope to continue to bring success to the hands of our clients and your clients and the industry as a whole, because we truly believe that vision is that next step. It is not the final step. It's the next step into becoming or being able to provide a means to any enterprise looking to take that next step into building efficiency, building knowledge, building anything that they require to fully take control of their operations and then get that level of efficiency that they need to get to the next step. And again, we truly believe that vision is the means to do that. So hopefully, we continue to generate more opportunities to kind of showcase that to the world.
Yeah. Thank you so much.